Hello and welcome to The Face of Art, the show that aims to bring artists out from behind the canvas and into the light. I'm your host, Kit Noble, and our guest this evening is Peter Sheppard. Peter grew up on the east coast of Massachusetts. He spent 20 years summering on Nantucket Island. He is a self-taught painter and started painting in 2006. He drew his creative inspiration from outdoor and sports painters. He and his family now live in Kennebunkport, Maine. He's had a gallery there for 4+ years. He's a committed conservationist, which is reflected in his work. Please join me in welcoming Peter Sheppard. How you doing, Peter?
Good. Hi, everybody. How are you?
How's things in Maine?
Pretty good. Bad at all. Not bad at all. Just got back from my new studio space and to talk with you, and people are starting to show up again. So it's pretty good.
Oh, that's great.
It's July. It doesn't feel like July, but it is. It is July.
Definitely different on the island too. Very much quieter than, well, I shouldn't say much quieter, but a lot quieter than it usually is. Speaking of Nantucket, I just wanted to take us back to when you used to live here. You spent 20 summers here. Can you just talk a little bit about that, when you first discovered the island, and what you did while you were here?
Yeah, I discovered the island when I was in high school, and it was the beach, the fun, and then became the fishing, and then I just fell in love with it all. It's just an island surrounded by places to fish, and that took over. Let's say it again.
Oh, I'm sorry. You were a fishing captain, is that right? How did that come about?
That's kind of what I was getting to. Yeah, when I first moved to the island, I mean, I didn't move to the island as an artist. I moved to the island as a fisherman. I started Rusty Fly fishing charters in, I think it was '96 when I started it. Before that, I was a mate out of Matticat, and it was just full of inspiration and great fishing, and I did that for almost 20 years, like 18 years, but including my mating, about 20 years. And then when I left the island, that kind of brought me to the art part. But you can definitely see the fishing in my art, I think.
And after Nantucket, you moved out west, is that right? The
I did.
Okay.
I did. Well, before that, I would do, again, I was just on Nantucket for the summers. Then I would go to Key West in the winters, and I would guide there. Then when I got married, I stopped doing that and bought a place in Idaho. So we spent winters in Idaho snowboarding. And yeah, it was a pretty awesome place. Right near Jackson Hole. It was pretty much the same place. It's Idaho-Wyoming border. It's, again, another beautiful place like Nantucket. And like Kennebunkport, where I am now.
And were you painting when you were out west?
Yes, but honestly, I've only been part-time painting this pretty much this entire time, because I was a fishing captain and I would paint. My wife and I had a wine shop called The Cellar on Nantucket, and I would literally have my easel there when I was not waiting on people selling them wine. I would paint. So painting's always been a part-time thing for me, and it still kind of is. It's my goal is to become a full-time painter. I came here to Kennebunk to be a full-time painter, but when I started the gallery, you have to run the gallery too, because I didn't have any employees. So I realized, yeah, I can't do both. So
tell us a little bit about Kennebunkport for people that haven't been there. I mean, it's a little like Nantucket in there. They're seasonal. Is that correct?
It is. It's a lot like Key West and Nantucket together, to tell you the truth. It's kind of the best way to describe it, just because of Nantucket seems to be a little more, I guess more expensive would be the word, but in Key West, you can get by it cheap and expensive, and it's kind of the same here. They're all beautiful places, but I mean, honestly, Nantucket's one of my favorite places on the planet, so it's rightly.
So Kennebunkport for 5 years, roughly, and that's when you decided to open the gallery. Is that right?
Yeah, when we moved to Idaho, full time. We did that for about 3.5 years, almost 4 years, and we couldn't make a living out there because it was just really hard, and we weren't farmers. And then we decided to come back east, but we didn't want to go to Nantucket again because we couldn't afford to buy a house. But this place was a lot like Nantucket, and we like the ebb and flow of a tourist town, if you will, where it's high tide and low tide. It's nice to take a breather sometimes, and it's, again, a beautiful place to live. Then I came in, it was February, I think it was, and it was off season. It was a snowstorm. We came into Kennebunkport. I've been here when I was a kid in the summer, and I was like, I was just looking for studio space, cheap, $300 a month to paint. But I saw a sign on a store for rent, for lease, and I was like, I know Kit Noble. I know some other art, Sonny Wood, Mixed Wales. I could maybe have a gallery / studio. And I literally just started texting my friends who are artists and gave it a shot. And it was a pretty crazy ride. I don't recommend it. I don't. It's hard. It is a lot of work. And,
well, I want to lead up to what's going on today, but I just had a couple more questions about your initial start with the gallery. So were there other Nantucket artists? You mentioned Sonny Wood, who does the whales, carves the whales out of wood.
Yeah, Chris Spinelli.
Yeah, and he does those prints with the fish, or
yeah, yeah. It's called Gyataku. If I'm probably not pronouncing it correct. Gyataku, which is Japanese for fish print. But Chris actually literally takes a fish, freezes it or something, and dries it off, and paints inks on the fish, and puts paper on it, lifts it off, and gets an imprint of it, and then dolls it up a little with the eyes and whatever, and dots. And he's incredible. But yeah, he's been really good. And some people doing jewelry. I used to, yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, it's all, I have people from Massachusetts too, though. So, I mean, it's Massachusetts, I mean, the mainland, not the island as well. It was all regional artists. And it was good. It was, people received it, everybody well. But again, it's just a tough business. Go ahead.
So, yeah, so tell us what happened July 1st or thereabouts. I'm glad you're laughing, not crying.
I'm actually crying. I don't know. It's like, you trying to make me cry.
This is the state of, this is the state of.
No, it was. I can't hear you.
No, go ahead. Just tell us about how this all what transpired last month.
It's 2020. We're in time of COVID virus, and everything is shut down. So I haven't made any money because we weren't allowed to open. But I was kind of playing in the big leagues. In other words, I had a place that was high rent because it was primo location. And when you have that, there's this, you gotta pay your bills. Someone else will, and I couldn't, and that's that. And I get it. I understand. My landlord, but I'm bummed. He couldn't do a little more, but that's okay. I think things are going to move on, and I'm gonna.
So, is there a new business in that space already?
He said there would be. There isn't.
Yeah, you don't want to drive by at this point, right?
No, I wish him well. I do. What are you gonna do?
So you have a family that you're supporting as well, right? I can't remember if you have 2 kids, 1 kid.
I have 2 daughters, 9 and 11, Graydon and Marley, and they're both very artistic, which I don't condone. Them drawing a lot. So,
are they selling anything?
they're really good. They're amazing. It's definitely, my talent is definitely, I got it from someone. I don't know who, but they got it from me. Sure. They're good. They're really good. I mean, I've always been good at drawing, like ever since a kid. I just remember it. And I don't know if I was as good as them or not, but They draw a lot. They draw a lot more than I did. Because I used to break dance and BMX, and I was active, and they aren't. They aren't as active. They're just like, if they're drawing on their iPads. They just draw, and I never tell them, hey, let's draw. And they ask me questions, and I answer them, and show them how, like how do you draw, an eye better? And I tell them, but I'm never like, hey, it's drawing time.
And you were self-taught?
Absolutely, yeah.
No,
I don't know what that means, Kit, though, because I'm always trying to learn. I've taken art workshops. I go on YouTube, and it's just priceless. It's not just Pete's art. I think I take a little bit from every. If I see a beautiful painting in a restaurant, I'll take a picture of it and be like, they got something there with that composition. So, but yeah, I never went to art school, and just figured it out on my own, just like fly fishing.
Yeah, I never thought about that question with being self-taught, because you're right, because like you can learn anything on YouTube.
Not like I'm Helen Keller and I just discovered art and I didn't know anything else.
Right. Well, let's take see if I get a screen share going here. Let's take a look at some of your work.
I did that one. I did that one too.
All right. You can either talk about these or we can just kind of scroll through them. But of course, my scrolling. That's actually Nantucket. I work from photo a lot, but when I'm outside, my mind works different, I guess, than some people's. I kind of record things in my mind, but to get things in perspective, I always use a reference. I have fun doodling. I can do a great job doodling from memory, but when you want to make something have some I like realism to a point. I don't want it to look like a photograph, but I want it to have a feeling of life, so people can relate to it. And I know you're a big Dory fan. Dories, right? Is that what these are called? So.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what I call them. And yeah, I think. When I was a fishing guide, fishing captain, the 3 boats I chartered from, they were all custom made, and I love the hull. I love shapes of a hull. They're attractive. They're elegant. And just like a sail on a sailboat, they capture the light. They have angles to capture the light, and then I use that in a composition and try to place things right. But that's why I study photography. I study your photos, Kit, a lot, and just how you place the focal point, and then you have always something interesting in the background or something. And you're paying attention to that. I'm sure you are. That's what I do.
And the dories sell well too, from what I remember you telling me.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, sailboats and dories. Yeah, and seascapes. Yeah, I started painting mostly sporting art. You brought it up. My dad, he collected sporting art, and that, and even I used to go to church when I was younger. I was brought up Catholic, and I don't go to church anymore, but I respect it. But when I was in these great churches, I would see beautiful art and whatnot, and when I went to museums. And even as a kid, I was like, I think I could do that. And I started painting in 2006, and my first painting was pretty good. And but then I've learned so much since then. It's crazy. My first painting was like almost one of my best, to tell you the truth. But it took me like 3 months to do it. Now I can do a painting in, a lot quicker, like weeks, not months now. So
what was that first painting? Do you remember?
Yeah, I have it. Let me go grab it.
No, that's all right. I'll keep you here. I don't want to lose you.
Yeah, maybe at the end. Well, yeah, maybe you had it up there. But
what was the subject matter?
It was sporting art. I was lucky enough to go Atlantic salmon fishing in Russia, and I was fishing with another artist who I admired. His name is John Swan. You guys should check him out. He has a lot of watercolors, but he has oil too. He's a beautiful brushstroke. Just what things like that is what I like. Anyway, we were fishing together, and he caught a salmon in his bathrobe after like taking the sauna at the home pool, and I captured the moment. I don't know. I like doing it's a portrait, and portrait is the most difficult thing to do. It really, faces and hands are just so difficult. And I did a picture of him holding the salmon up that he caught in front of all of us in his bathrobe. It's called Robed Swan, and his name is John Swan. And we're in Russia, and it's just, but I'm painting a painting of another artist fishing together. That's why I did it. And but I think I did a good job on the painting, my first painting.
So how would you define sport art or whatever?
Sporting art. So it's it's.
Is it always wildlife?
Yeah, sporting. If I had to get really technical, if you had to like pick a genre, it would be like fishing and hunting, like shooting pheasant, grouse, duck hunting, fly fishing. So sporting. When like an Atlantic salmon fishing guide, they would call their client a sport, not quote unquote a sport, not a client, not an angler even. They call them a sport. They're sporting. It's kind of, I think it's, before our time, maybe a Scottish English term, but sporting art, yeah, which is go ahead.
No, I was just curious how you define it. That was great. So I'm just showing some of the other stuff that you do. That's
a 5 foot blue lobster, which is pretty. Just one of my most recent ones. It's awesome. It doesn't even look that great there, but it's literally it moves. It's really cool. Someone's gonna like that.
Cool.
Sure.
And you sell in addition to your originals, you sell prints as well?
I do have $150 frame prints, just because it's expensive to buy art. I can't afford my own art, so
I always think that exact same thing when I'm pricing it. I'm like, well, that's what it's worth, but I couldn't afford it.
I wouldn't buy it. Yeah, it's like, well, no, it's not. I wouldn't. I couldn't. Yeah. I definitely would, but yeah, I couldn't.
I'm just gonna go through a couple more.
Yeah, it's the art world is so weird, and it is originals. It's largely for the wealthy, but I'm telling you what, though, there are people who sacrifice. I'm not kidding. They'll sacrifice their cable bill for a couple of years so they can buy art. They have an antenna TV. They tell me this. So there are people who understand art and it moves them, and they make it a part of their lives. I think that's pretty awesome. So you don't have to be rich, but it is the majority. You have to be wealthy, middle, high, up. When you're talking about painting $5,000, it's a lot of money. Who's gonna do that? I couldn't.
So this scene looks
familiar. I'm doing it.
Right. This scene looks familiar. Was this painted while you were on Nantucket, or did you do that later on?
It did. That was one of my very first paintings. I should say one of my very first landscapes. And half of that was from head, just doing it out of my head. And I did have a photo reference of the lighthouse. Because I don't think I had internet back then. Maybe I did. Maybe, who knows? But anyway, yeah, I just kind of just put it together. That's one of the ones I did in my head. But it represented a day. That's me actually there, because I had a photograph of me someone took.
Oh, okay.
Fly fishing there. That was a day.
There's another self-portrait, which I really love.
I caught a striper by Brant Point, and it wasn't a big one, but it's all right. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
I love this self-portrait too. This is great.
Thank you. That's life size. It was. Thank you.
From a photo, I would guess.
Yep, that's a photo of me. I was fishing out on Tuckernuck Island, and the sun was setting, and a big school of bass kind of flooded the shore, and I was changing my lure, and like my hands were shaking. It was, and I think my wife Leslie took a photo of me at that moment.
You look very intense, like you're like you're trying to get that.
Yeah, I was freaking out. It was a beautiful moment because you've been there. Well,
Oh yeah,
your photographs, when the wave comes up on the shore and then recedes, you'll see that little film of water reflects the sky,
yep.
like purposely sometimes, like a glass. For a second, it's like glass. Well, all these stripers went up with the wave, and the wave went by, and they were like squirming on the shoreline. And the reflection of this pink and orange fiery sky were on the, so it looked like stripers on fire in pink, writhing. It was crazy. So we were just like, oh, they're here. And I ran back to get my rod. And my dog went in the water and tried to get them with her mouth. And we didn't catch a thing that night, but it was beautiful.
I bet.
It was really intense. It was psychedelic is what it was.
What
That's
about
that's the last one. Go ahead, whatever. That right there, that's my backyard view without the teepees in Idaho.
come on.
Yeah, that's I literally stood on my back deck and painted that, and then I added the Shoshone Indians in the teepees, to make a composition that was interesting. Made up the clouds and all that. But that's my backyard view. That's why I don't want to sell my cabin up there. That's why I'm trying to sell art. That's Nantucket.
Nantucket in the winter, yeah. Very famous.
That's Nantucket Rainbow Fleet.
Yep. That's why I pulled a lot of these. Nantucket.
Yep. A fun one.
That's Maine.
Yep, that's here in the Kennebunk River.
Tell by the lobster boats, or a couple of them.
Yeah. Again, how you brought up the dory and the hulls. I just love the shape of hull,
Yeah.
hull, especially when they start changing direction. It's hard to get it right. It's hard to get those lines accurate that will register to the viewer, if you will, or to me. Yes, I'm the viewer. I may view it, but
Are there painters that you admire and have inspired you? I seem to remember something in your bio: Winslow Homer and John Singer Sargent.
it was really Sargent that absolutely blew my mind, because I just, again, when I started painting, I was like, I think I can do that. I think I can draw that well. But drawing well and painting well are two completely different things. But you have to be able to draw and paint it realistically. That's abstract painting aside. You just have to, and so I can do it quickly. So that's good for me. But Sargent, he did more than that for me. It was just I at the time I couldn't explain it. I just didn't know why it made me feel good inside. And now I'm getting closer to understanding it, but it's incredible. But the way he makes things, and I discovered it as an artist. Sometimes we squint. If you squint your eyes when you're looking at a subject, just enough to break up hard lines, so you don't even know what it is. You're just seeing light, darks, and colors. That's what I do when I look at a subject, and that's how I discovered what Sargent was doing so beautifully. He could just, it was like a hidden abstract pattern design in there. It almost had nothing to do with the subject. So when I see a beautiful painting, it could be something that I don't like. Like I don't like peppers. I hate peppers or cottage cheese. If there's a beautiful painting of peppers and cottage cheese, it's all about the brush strokes and how the artist made the composition, how they aligned, how they arranged things on the canvas to make the viewer's eyes move around in a joyful way, in almost a giddy way. In the masters, what they make you do, it's like you can't even explain why you like the painting. And so when I look at a painting, it has nothing to do with the subject matter. It has to do with how the artist made a composition and used color and used the texture of their brush strokes and used their edges, soft edges and hard edges, to move the eye around. And that's what I think Sargent did better than anyone. I think there's better artists than him maybe today, but
That's really interesting.
He was really it was just magic. It was so. So it became a challenge. So a funny thing was like when I'll tell someone, okay, I'm in my gallery and I've been kind of come out and I wipe my head and I'm like, I've been painting for, hi, how are you? Welcome to the gallery. I've been painting for 7 hours straight. And they're like, oh, that sounds so relaxing.
No, that's intense.
Are you kidding? Like it's like, it's so intense and you got to step back a lot to take it all in. But it's for me, it's not relaxing at all. It's intense. I'm exhausted after it. That's why I listen to heavy metal a lot, just to keep me going. It's just like to get in the moment. It feels like I'm snowboarding and jumping off a cliff and I have to stick the landing.
Yeah, I was just about,
You're not going to get it. You're just not. That's the way it is for me.
yeah. I was just about to ask you your process.
It's beautiful and I take pride in it, but it's not a walk in the park at all. Doodling is, but not a serious painting. It's fun. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you about your process, but you talked a little bit about it there, especially I didn't know that about the heavy metal. That's it's interesting.
Tool. I listen to Tool.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Is like I can't listen to Tool. There's a band called Tool, Tool, and
Right.
And they're hard, but other people might not know. And they're hardcore, and it's not something you want to. It's not inviting. Like, come in my gallery. I'm listening to Tool. So in the gallery, I listen to classical music and Bob Marley and reggae, whatever. And but to really focus in, I need something to make you feel like you're jumping off a cliff, and you have to on a snowboard, skis, whatever. You got to stick it, and so you can't have any distractions. And and my goal in the future here is to have a studio where I can turn up the volume loud and sing loud because I have a terrible voice. Yeah, I do. I have a terrible voice.
So somewhere where there's no neighbors.
Yeah, I can find a place in Maine.
So now that the gallery is closed, what's the plan in terms of continuing to sell work? Is there street fairs? Like what's your next step?
It's a great question, Kat. What are you gonna do?
Huh? I'm selling online.
I'm trying.
I have an online gallery. That's what
All right.
that's
Your
what
turn. I tried to sell your art. You can sell mine now.
Okay. That's a deal.
Yeah. No, seriously, what I'm doing now, well, right now I'm at a place called, I think it's 14 Western Ave, which is right when you're coming into Kennebunkport. It's called Main Art Hill, owned by John Spain. He's a wonderful man. He's got like over almost 20 people working for him, and they're all pros. And all these little galleries and one main gallery. You can't miss it. You come in town, there's all these wind chime mills going everywhere. So he was nice enough when I was packing up, going out of my gallery. He said, Pete, I'm so sad to see this. How can I help you out? And he has a little pop-up space. So I'm there for the next 2 weeks. And probably a week now. And after that, I don't know. But it's a great little place. Come check it out. Spread the word. You can always go to rustyflygallery.com. Check stuff out. Call my number. Call me up. What's up?
Yeah. Just give us the website again.
It's rustyflygallery.com.
Okay. Cool. And this
Rusty Fly
there you go.
was the name of my fishing charter business. I was Rusty Fly Fishing Charters, and my boat was called Rusty Fly. So I kind of carried that over. So I was a saltwater fly fishing guide, specialized in saltwater fly fishing.
Got it. So last question about this pop-up gallery. Is that like an outdoor space with a tent over it? Is it weather?
No, it's a real deal. It's like 16 by 20 foot spot. High ceilings. It's beautiful. It's nice. It's got a little sink, and it's good. I'm happy with it.
Well, this has been great. Is there anything else you want to promote or talk about? It sounds like we probably.
Yeah, everybody should check out kitnoble.com. It's I don't know if I'm going to be running my gallery, but he was one of my artists. And one of my best, and honestly, you were one of my best received artists. Because again, people, I have Sunny Woods, Wales. They're gorgeous. Everyone comes in and says, look at that whale, and they look at your photos. It's beautiful. And they don't buy it because they want to. I want to. So thank you. You made my look art. My art alongside your art is awesome. Thanks.
Maybe there'll be a day we'll be back together again.
Who knows, brother?
Yeah.
I'm not giving. I don't know what I really don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to go back to captaining. I'm not going to stop painting because I haven't even scratched the surface. I really haven't. But again, when you figure out what you're going to do, please let me know.
All right. Yeah. Right now, I've just gone to an online gallery. For now, I mean, I'd still like to open my own gallery someday as well. But that's what I'm promoting right now is shopping online.
Oh,
people,
let me stop you right there. Don't open your gallery someday. What you just said, don't do that.
Well,
You won't be going to Costa Rica, brother. You won't be going, but just take my word for it. We'll have another interview about whether Kit should open his own gallery. Kind of like your lifestyle.
You can interview me. Well, the gallery might be in Costa Rica.
I used to have your life. Now, Kit, you got 2 kids?
No kids.
No. Okay.
No
Well,
kids
enjoy.
just a lot of freedom, my friend.
Okay, what'd you do during COVID? What you do?
I gotta go.
No, Kit called me for this interview. He gave me he made a good decision.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad you're healthy, brother. Seriously.
Yeah, you too. It's good to hear from you and good to see you.
Give the gray lady a big hug for me, please. I miss her.
I will. A social distancing.
Shout out to my cousin Rob Cacuso and Scott Capizzo, your daddy of 2 now, and all my other friends. I love you all.
Yeah. All right, man. Talk to you soon.
Love you. Thank you, man.
Take care.
Take care.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You can check out other episodes, past episodes on the YouTube channel for NCTV18. Thank you to my partners at NCTV. They do the producing here for the show, and they also do all the archiving, which is great. So I'll see you guys next Thursday evening. And in the meantime, please support your local artists. Take care. Bye-bye.